Good afternoon. Happy Saturday to everybody. Welcome to our World Hour Power Show here with Lady Pauline and my co-host, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, the Honorable Mayor of Southern Boulevard. Hey, Glenn, how you doing today?
I am doing great, great. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The weather's great, and we have a fantastic guest coming on the show today.
Oh, and who is that? Who's that? Tell me.
Nakita Vanstory, and she has written a chapter in the book called Still I Thrive.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about your book, the chapter that you wrote, and what inspired you to be part of this project. Tell us a little bit about the project and then your part in the project.
So this book, it pulled together 24 authors together. So it's an anthology. And P.K. Kersey, he has an organization called That Suits You. This is actually his third book. His first two books were, he pulled together a group of men, and they were talking about suited for success and their stories of triumph and different things, right? Mm-hmm. And so for this project, he decided to bring both men and women for the first time. And because of our relationship, we worked together when I was at LaGuardia Community College, when I was at the library. He would do presentations about dressing for success, and he would provide suits for my young people. So we had a relationship, and we stayed in touch. And so when this project came along, he decided to invite me because of that relationship, because of he knew the work in the community, et cetera. So the whole idea was for a group of authors to come together and speak about what they may have went through in 2020 as a result of the pandemic, personal trials and tribulations, and speak to how we not only dealt with them and share our story, but how do we pivot and how do we overcome and be successful? So my chapter, which is chapter 2, called Insinuated Superpowers, it speaks to a lot of the loss that I lost. I lost my father. I lost my father 49 days after I lost my younger brother.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I lost my brother January 14th, 2020, and I lost my father March 4th of 2020. And just 49 days apart. So I speak about how that was my first up close and personal. You know, you go to your grandparents, you have, just people in the family, but they're older. But my brother was 36 years old. So that was very, very hard for me, you know. Mm-hmm. So I tell the story of how I had to, kind of deal with it and plan everything. And I came up with the title Insinuated Superpowers because I'm always everybody's cheerleader. I'm always, strong and I'm always happy. But just because you carry it well doesn't mean you're not going through stuff.
Right.
So what are you insinuating here? It usually has a negative connotation. But here, you're insinuating that my strength, I can't be vulnerable, I can't be weak, or I can't need, right? Mm-hmm. So I speak about that, and I encourage people to have those hard conversations, to look at the negative, but don't be afraid to rip that S upon your proverbial chest, right? Don't be afraid to say that you're hurting or you're not okay. And think about legacy. Think about the good things that you have accomplished. And so even me wearing this T-shirt today was the logo, Stand Faith, that my younger brother had created. He used to sell T-shirts. After he passed, I got a trademark, and I want to keep that legacy going.
Sure.
And so I speak to those things. And even the people that have already purchased and read the book, so many people I would have never known, they also lost a brother. Or this sounds like their life story when they lost someone, or how they feel like outside. Everyone thinks they're so happy and so whatever. And you don't want to relate on pain, but just so people felt it's okay to be like, oh, so it wasn't just me. So that was the whole, the gist of the project, how we came together. And we've had several meet and greets, and all of the authors are amazing. And there's a variety of entrepreneurs telling their story, parents and illnesses and all sorts of stuff, and it's all about strength. And everyone's so supportive. This is my new fam. I call them my Thrive family, so it's an honor.
So this is your first time actually writing something like this?
Absolutely.
Because I know you write. I know you have really great skills in writing, and
Thank you. I
and
appreciate
your background is in journalism and everything.
Yeah.
So this is like coming circle for you.
I never would have known it though, right? If it wasn't for the trust and the relationship with PK and, just doing it just because he asked, I don't think I would have pulled myself to pull it together. It is a process, right? You know that someone else is reading it. So yes, I do write, marketing copy. I do write grants. I can say I'm a wordsmith. I love words, right? And I did study media, etc., publishing. But this is my first time putting it down like this, but I liked it. What was challenging, however, is because we're talking about something challenging. And the process of writing and putting it on, you're just throwing all your ideas and thoughts. And the first draft of this was due around Christmas, my first Christmas without my parents.
Both of them. Yeah.
And having to tell that story and reenact it in my head so that I can articulate it so that someone can understand and paint that picture, that was challenging.
Yes. Now, you said they passed away very close together in a matter of like 40-something days, you said?
49 days.
49 days. Was it due to the pandemic, if you don't mind me asking?
No, it wasn't. My younger brother had a rare disease called PSD. I think Walter Payton also had this disease. Like a lot of African-American males didn't have it. It's very rare.
Rare, yes.
And he had a liver transplant. And what's so ironic is, with Facebook, when you post things and it sends you these memories.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, October the 15th, it would have been maybe his 17th year, because it was October the 15th, 2016, my little brother had made a post that said, today would have been 11 years of my second chance at life. And he was talking about his liver transplant. As a part of the disease, it had deteriorated. He, had yellowing in the eyes, and his belly looked like he had pillows. It was, he got so frail. And then last year, ironically, and I said, he'd already passed, in October of 2020, 15th, that memory popped up, and I said, don't worry, little brother, rest in heaven. I'm silently working to keep your legacy going. So yesterday, forgetting it was October 15th, and I had to come here today. What I was silently alluding to in that post was me writing this book. And I just really got emotional, and I was like, wow. And it's just like how Facebook, something so simple, can chronicle the history from 2016 to 2020, and then 2021. Here I am. It's written.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my goodness.
let's stay right there, because there's something. So what was it like for you emotionally to be going through this? What did you rely on to get the strength to go through this,
To write the story, or to deal with his illness?
to deal with the illness first. Because I think that gave birth to the story.
Right.
But you had to have a certain amount of strength within you. So what did you call on? What was your your go-to?
That's an interesting question, because all of my nuclear family are from North Carolina. I, alone with my children, have lived in New York for over 20 years. So my younger brother lived in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
So when we would talk, no one would even know. Even to the day he passed, I talked to some of his best friends, and they allow themselves to be my honorary little brother, so we still keep in touch. They didn't know times that he was in the hospital, because he would keep it to himself. So I would see him when I would visit, which wasn't often, and that made me feel bad in my grief, right?
Okay.
That I should have been there more. I should have known more. But he was so independent. He had it. Like, he was an MC. He used to do promotions. He had the T-shirts he was selling. So to me, that's just that's Tony doing his thing, and like, hey, little bro, and So I didn't deal with it firsthand. My mother and my father was his, primary caretaker. He didn't like relying on anybody. And then the last 2 or so years of his life, he was wheelchair bound, and he was so frail, so thin. You could literally, it was just like skin over his skeleton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being wheelchair bound. And I think the last time that I saw him, when I made a visit, we used to like to go to Captain D's and get like Krispy Kreme donuts, or just little things that we used to do.
Do it together, yeah.
And he asked if he could have a piece, and I remember his appetite was weak, and that vision of me getting him a piece of the fish and cutting it, and he had put his head down like this. Like, it was almost like he was shamed that he couldn't do it himself.
Yes.
But it also was like, that was the sign that it was just crazy. So it was just really sad how it happened. And so I had called and I talked to him like on speaker. My father was in the hospital with him like the day that he passed. And I called. I was on my way to work here in Jamaica. And I was on my way to work, and I said, all right, just want to call, make jokes. Hey, just want to say what's up,
Right.
talk to my dad and whatever. And he does this little hand sign, sort of like peace or whatever. And he was like, hey, what's up, that type of thing. And it was literally like 20 minutes after that phone call, my dad called back and said he had passed away. And my dad told the story that he was just like, he almost basically, and that's another up close and personal thing. It was almost like a light switch. He was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, there's no more. And then he gave my dad that little symbol, that like peace.
Yeah.
And my dad called me back, and I was like, whoa.
That's very traumatic. Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't deal with, like I said, I didn't deal with the sickness directly. It was just like from afar, and we touch base or whatever. But when you grieve and you feel like, God, we should have hung out more. I should have known. I should have, those shouldas.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
They call it, what is it, survivor's remorse, if you will.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then, my dad's situation had nothing to do with the pandemic either. It was cardiac arrest. And we were getting ready to go to a game, and it was just like, you got to get here. And I'm like, what? And to this day, again, that regret is like, I wonder if I would have like, Dad, I'm here. Like when they were trying to resuscitate him, if I would have spoke out, I wonder if it would have made a difference, And we had just I think he went to the laundromat with me that morning. We went to Family Dollar, we got some water. Like we were just hanging down the street. And so it's just like reflecting on that when you're writing, right?
Yeah.
And then what to include and what not to include. And all of those types of things. So it was challenging. Like you said, this is my first time writing like this. This is my first time publishing.
Wow.
But it's beautiful because it is an anthology, and I had the support of the other 23 authors.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
So you weren't by yourself.
I wasn't by myself.
Yeah. In the process.
So, it wasn't because of that. It was two health-related things, but not the pandemic. Because of the timing of my dad,
Everybody thought
you still
so.
wonder,
Yes.
you know what I mean? But and actually, they were visiting. My mother and I were visiting in New York. So he passed away in New York, and visiting me, making sure I was okay.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
as you said, you have survived to write the book, chapter. And what would you say to other people that's going through something similar?
Definitely do not apologize for your feelings. Do not apologize for your desire to have distance. Cry. Be vulnerable. And write it down, even if it's not published. Or listen to songs. For me, for my dad in particular, that brown skin girl, I promise I had that thing on loop, 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 loop. I would be cooking and it would just be on loop, and it was just my dad talking to me. And I always loved lions. I don't have a tattoo yet, but I've thought about putting lion tattoos all over. You know what I mean? Like, I think of both he and my brother as like lions. I'm a lioness, and my lions are protecting me,
Right.
So, just admit that you're not okay. And don't let anyone insinuate that you'll be all right. God's not going to give you more than you can take. And although that's supposed to be a supportive term.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
It's kind of dismissive when you
It
think
is
about
dismissive.
it. Because there's no empathy in it. It's just like, oh, well, handle it.
Right.
Kind
You're
of thing.
strong. You're good. You know more than you can bear and all of that. But sometimes right at this moment, I might not be.
Strong.
Strong,
Yeah.
right?
I
You know.
agree. So tell me a little bit about your life. I hear that you are working in a new place called the New Hope Program, and it's located, one is in the Bronx and one is in Brooklyn.
Yes.
What do you do exactly there?
So I am the director of recruitment and admissions for the HOPE program. And what it is we do training and job readiness. So, workforce development is my heart.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
So I have the beautiful privilege of working with residents of New York City, job seekers throughout New York City who want to get into some sort of sustainable green energy career. And we provide that job readiness support and or a training. So
You said green energy.
green energy sustainability.
Ooh, nice.
So we have, if someone wants to get into general maintenance, general maintenance, construction, HVAC. We started our first HVAC training, which is a very expensive training. So the fact that we're able to offer it at no cost, that's a blessing.
Are you really? At
yeah.
no cost? That's awesome.
Yeah, so the HVAC, and we have all kinds of trainings to just make sure that people are entering into this very high demand, high efficiency type of program. And I love it. I love it so much. I've been there for 2 months thus far. Mm-hmm. And it's like they have wraparound services such as wellness to make sure, they can work through your stress. There's the goal is to make sure not only you get trained. This is not to look cute in your wallet. This is not to look cute on the wall. Full-time employment.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And the team is passionate. And again, in the moment I felt it, I feel like I have a professional family that's just as passionate, that's just as driven to see success. So I'm honored to be at the HOPE program.
What is the age group that you work with?
I don't work directly with them, but they have to be 18 or older. So as long as you're 18 and older, and what's also amazing about it, they don't have to have their high school equivalency in order to enroll in these trainings. So working in workforce for well over 20 years, sometimes there's a lot of barriers, right?
Yes.
So you have to have this, so you have to have that, or you have to, maybe the barrier is the actual qualification, eligibility, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So just being 18 and older, eligible to work in New York City, those types of things. So I'm honored to have that professionally. And just that balance of learning a new job. This is a big role, right? Mm-hmm. I wasn't looking. It kind of, sometimes you make an impression on people. And sometimes they may have a role or something, and they're like, you're the only person I thought of. And after some arm twisting, a little smidge, I decided to make the grown-up move. But I'm very happy to be there. And it allows me, again, to reach more people, to make sure that they are getting into this employment. With the pandemic, employers, sometimes you have to be vaccinated. You might not have to be vaccinated. You might need this. So being at the helm to help people make those decisions on where they want to move and understand the moving workforce economy and the decisions that you have to make personally and professionally to move ahead. So.
But let's back up a little bit, because you've had a lot of training that would lead you to be successful in this position. So let's talk to our listeners a little bit about some of the previous trainings that you've had, because clearly this has been kind of building, mm-hmm. and this is kind of like a flower that's now has budded and is now blooming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's so amazing about being here, like Glenn, all of you, like we've kind of like grown up together professionally in different roles. I think the last time I was here, not only did I have a different hairstyle.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
did. I was working for the Queens Public Library, where I was overseeing their job readiness services and different things, making sure, again, people within the community had their resumes and their cover letters, right? Prior to that, I spent well over 12 years at LaGuardia Community College. And in that capacity, I was working with young adults, 18 to 24, 18 to 30. My biggest role there touches my heart the most is when I was working with individuals who had criminal court involvement. So I had strong relationship with the Queens DA's office and the parole and probation and things like that. And these are relationships that I have to this day. So even at HOPE, when they did the email blast to introduce me, to their whatever.
All that's included.
Some of the, hey, Nakita, oh my God, it's so great to see you here, and that shows that you're growing and your work leaves a reputation. Mm-hmm. So, as I grow in this role, I always stay true to my network. I try to make an impression, right? I'm always collaborating. How can we do better? Because the end goal is to make sure the job seekers in New York City are being served to the best. This is not territorial. Let's pull together. I also just recently Got on a couple of committees for Job First. It's a green energy network, right? So for green jobs, we come together, we brainstorm, and we try to pull some data, industry information related to that. So, I mean, really passionate about it. And you're right, I have grown, and this is a perfect fit for me now, right? What's next? I'm always growing and learning. I'm a part of this workforce, WPTI, Workforce Professional Coro Fellowship Program, where they've selected only 30 workforce professionals throughout all of New York City. I was one of only 30 selected to be a part of this very exclusive 1 year, 15-month fellowship, where we learn how to make a change in the workforce system here in New York, right? Ooh. So I'm always trying to keep that professional development and see how can I do my job better and how can I collaborate, right? Because we want to make sure that not only am I thriving, but they can thrive, the job seekers in New York. I'm very passionate about this kind of work.
How do you keep that energy going in your head? I mean, it's a tremendous amount of energy to have to always be on point.
And that's an excellent point why we got this insinuated superpowers, right? Like my it's not necessarily my persona. This is my personality, but there are moments I just want to lay in the bed. But I think I get really excited about it because of the change that I know that is possible. And I know that I am a glass half full type of person. Mm-hmm. You're not going to tell me that this can't happen, or you're not going to tell me based on this barrier that this person's not going to move forward. We're going to figure this out. And in my current role, there's times we have to do intake interviews, and you ask all these questions and what kind of barriers and things like that. And we'll go off script, and I'm like, listen, just having somebody giving you that encouragement. When I see elders, older people who look like, you wish that they could just retire, but they can't. They're still going on. I think about my father. My father was super humble. He was a gentle giant, right? I think about, my parents. I think about my fam. Like, I'm just a Southern girl that just kind of grew up professionally in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I keep that energy, because I know I'm making an impact. And I know I come from the heart. I know that I'm going to make it happen one way or the other, and I'm not scared to call and put together a collaborative effort or whatever to make it happen. I think that's where I get my energy from.
Okay. How do you feel about having on these headsets? Because I know your background is in journalism and radio and all that. How does it feel like being back in the chair?
I'm loving this, because since I was like 14 or 15, like a lot of people don't know this part of me. Like, this is the North Carolina people, the people like, yeah, I've been in New York professionally, but the people that really know me, right, from North Carolina. I worked in radio since I was 14 years old. I started college radio at WNAA, North Carolina A&T State University. They had a full moon block party Friday and Saturday nights, and my mother and my father would allow me to go up there. I would get picked up by the DJs at the time, right? I was like, you could just turn on the radio and hear me.
Wow.
Ooh, that's awesome.
And then when they graduated college, they went to the commercial radio stations, right, the hip-hop and R&B, and they brought me along, so I was doing that. And then I went away to college, and when I would come home in the summer on the breaks. So this right here, I like this. I'm not even going to tell you what my radio name was.
Well, tell me now. You got to tell. You got to tell.
So but this feels great. I love it. I love being here. And you're right. I did have my initial degree, my undergrad, was in media studies. I actually want to be a pediatrician, but I changed my major. But yeah, business and media studies. So I've worked at Billboard magazine. So I really thought I was going to be like the Angie Martinez of North Carolina, right?
Okay.
But look at me now,
No, you have arrived. You're doing what you want to do.
And I think that might be why I speak with this kind of passionate energy, and I can meet an individual where they are and make it kind of quote unquote fun to thrive or whatever, or to be successful, because I bring in little elements of that, like,
Yes, you do.
So I think a little bit of every little thing that I've done in my whole collective life has blossomed.
It's been building, yes. It's been building.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you balance work, being a mother, and your book? How do you balance all this with life?
It is really challenging. It is really challenging. Even today, to be honest, I had to block people out. I had to put people on mute. I had to say, can you please just after five? I just had to protect my space. And in addition to the book, I have like little side things that I do. I do webinars. Like I said, I'm on like committees and other little things. I really don't know how to, as my grandmother would say, go sit down somewhere. Like I need to sit down somewhere. But I just like to make a difference. There was a period where I was on all of these boards here and working the, government and doing this and that. And then I kind of stepped back a little. But I feel like I have a legacy. I have something that I need to kind of be that voice at the table to speak up for certain populations, or to speak up and make sure things are being done, or at least to have that information. So even if I saw someone at random on the elevator. So balance is something that I'm constantly working on. But a lot of times I just don't think about it. A lot of times I think about how I'm trying to make this world better for my for my son and for my daughter, right?
How old are they?
My
now?
son is 11 and my daughter's 22, and she graduated from college in December of 2020. So despite everything going on,
girl,
and
you
she
look
was on
good,
a president's
You
list.
look good. You look like you're in your 20s or 30s,
thank you,
girl.
thank you.
Yeah, you got it going on.
Thank you. But yeah, she graduated, and actually this week on Wednesday, she started her first grown-up career in her field that she studied for, marketing and international business. She's doing that. And she likes it so far, onboarding the first couple of days. But I'm proud. So despite everything in 2020, right? Despite the sadness and thrive, I still had a daughter that graduated, right? Yeah. We still have family. I still have my mom. I still have, right? So that's another lesson is grieve. And it might come at any moment. It could be like you making a cup of coffee and it makes you remember how someone clicked the coffee and it makes you cry. But also make sure that you show love to the people who are still here.
Yes.
When I got that message yesterday, the reminder about the liver thing, I just posted something that was kind of like funny that morning. Mm-hmm. And I forgot about October 15th. So I was like, my little brother would have giggled at that. And I said, if you're still blessed to have a little brother, please give him a hug. Please call him. I don't have a little brother no more. So one lesson is make sure you're never too busy, you're never too far, you're never too this, you're never too that. That's the beauty of the pandemic. It slowed us down.
Yes.
Yes, it has. I agree with you 100%.
Right? So just keep that part of what we learned. Keep that going.
Yeah, we have been able to spend time with the family.
Yeah.
And I know that that's very important.
It is.
We are, as usual, we're very, very busy people, and sometimes we forget the most important people that's the closest to us. And, Yeah. But we're going to be right back. We're going to commercial break.
Awesome.
And we'll be back with this story.
Thank you.
All right, how you guys doing?
Wait, how'd you get your video like that? Is that 4K or something?
Right, you got us over here looking like a hot mess.
No, it's actually a powerful live streaming app for Mac called Ecamm Live. You know what? Let me show it to you real quick. So you're able to use your mirrorless camera as a virtual webcam, and you can tweak the colors right in Ecamm Live using their camera effects, and then bring this video right into Zoom, Google Meet, and pretty much any other virtual meeting app. You can even stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn and bring in comments right onto the video. And you can customize the look, size, and position of the comments right in the app. Or you can even add your logo to the corner of your video, or yourself, or both. There are plenty of picture-in-picture styles to choose from if you're sharing your screen for a tutorial or doing a presentation. And it doesn't have to be live. You can use it to record a course and eliminate the need to have to edit it later, all in 4K quality. And if you got a green screen, you can set it up right in Ecamm Live, and you can bring that into your different meetings. If you're feeling fancy, you can move yourself into the corner of your frame to do a commentary or a reaction video. You can even add in video clips just by dragging and dropping it in. Pretty much everything's drag and drop. Y'all follow me? Okay, good. So if you want to step it up a notch, you can add some overlays to your video, whether it's a simple graphic or you want to have some titles or other info at the bottom of your screen. You can even add animated overlays like this one or this one. And with Ecamm Live's interview mode, you have full control over the look and feel of your broadcast. And you can add branded overlays to frame you and your guests and look like a real legit broadcast. And you can save each layout as a scene and switch between them with the press of a button. You know, these days between virtual meetings, school, live streams, we on video all the time. So you just want to show up in a way where you can be confident and proud of. And for me, Ecamm Live is at the center of it all. Did y'all get all that?
You were on mute.
New York State's largest African American Chamber of Commerce, known as LIAACC, is now accepting new membership candidates. LIAACC has appeared on WABC, Here and Now, NBC's Positively Black, WLIW21, FIOS1, and in Long Island Business News. Membership consists of a variety of men and women of distinction who have been bestowed some of the most prestigious awards in the region. We host monthly membership meetings and signature events, including the Long Island African American Business Expo, Annual Health Fair, Ladies of LIAACC Annual Women's History Month program, and our annual Black History Month art exhibition. Join by simply logging on to our easy new membership sign-up portal at www.liaacc.org.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music, just expressing how you feel.
Kids use music as a way to provide language for their emotions.
Talking about my feelings with my mother, I'm gonna just be quiet. In the back of my head, I'm like, man, this ain't it.
I'm going to talk to Howie about his feelings, make it into a song.
Hi, my name is Maya Delgado, and I am the brand ambassador of Kids Breakdown. And this is my demo video. Enjoy!
Download app on Google Play or App Store.
Create account. Choose avatar.
Enter Kids Breakdown Roadmap.
Roadmap consists of math, spelling, memorization, and matching mini games.
After each minigame, personality and interest questions will appear to pinpoint which job may suit you best. After completion of all 8 minigames, you will be presented with jobs you may want to learn more about.
Read fun facts about all the different types of jobs within the law, science, and arts career.
Use your gold bricks to make your job environment fully complete.
Go back and play minigames to earn more bricks if needed. I hope you enjoyed the Kids Breakdown demo video. Make sure to download today and share with your friends. This platform will pave the way for kids who are just like me, the groundbreakers of tomorrow.
Wow, welcome back. You know something, I was just watching that commercial, and something I would like to ask you. How would you like to help the young people? Really, you know, because somehow the young people today are sort of like stuck. A lot of people are stuck. But they're stuck because of the pandemic, but they're also stuck because of the cost of living. They can't branch out the way they used to. Like in my time, I left home when I was 20 and never went back, you know. And I see that a lot of young people are very frustrated with the you know, even though they have an education, they still can't get to the next level where they want to be. How would you help them?
I feel like I'm in a capacity to do some of that helping now.
Okay.
Just I want access to them, and that's why I like being, you know, overseeing recruitment and outreach, if you will, because I try to think outside of the box. How can I gain access to those who wouldn't find me otherwise, so I can find them? And then it's presenting them with not only encouragement from the beginning, and it's letting them see that they're an individual, and let's meet you where you are, and help them see not only when you get the training, you got to be punctual. There's certain professional decorum, even from the classroom on. There's all kinds of things like that, and then connect it. A lot of times there's a disconnect between, I want this kind of car, I want this kind of clothes, I want this kind of girl, I want this kind of guy. Like there's costs associated with that. And then introducing financial literacy from a, you know, just kind of conceptual perspective, like, right, the reality of it, and understanding home ownership. And I think what's very key, I haven't been able to do this yet, but I would love to emphasize the importance of a two-parent home, or, right? They're not necessarily, you know, whatever, but if you really look back in history, a lot of, like, I'm a one-income household, right? So to have those two incomes, that's how you can kind of grow, and you can kind of pool your resources, and you can guide that support, and someone can go to school while the other one's doing, you know, just a shared responsibility. if somehow we can not only put that financial literacy, but the value of partnership.
You've opened up yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge, because one of the things I'm actually doing some work with fatherhood and co-parenting, and being able to get the parents back together.
Yeah.
Whether they're living together or not, but at least working for the betterment of their children.
Just co-parent well.
And being involved in their lives, and one of the things that I've seen that's so important is just having both parents around to support in just conversations.
Male and female.
Male and female,
their mother
yes.
and their father.
And their father.
And I'm a daddy's girl,
Yeah.
right? I am a daddy's girl. And that's another thing. That was one of the things when he passed away, it's like, even if I didn't talk to him every day, sometimes I could just be like, my mother would answer and I'm like, is Dad around? She already knew. And I would just talk and he would just listen. Or if I did like meet somebody, like you ain't want to hear it, right? But it's just something about having them there. And that's another thing about my confidence, I feel. I never feel like I date for a thirst for love or someone to validate me. I got that at home.
Yeah.
And just for a male. And I don't know if I told this story before, but I will never forget when I was with the Justice Program, there was a young man. I remember his name. I remember the day. And he came in and we shut the door and he was crying. He was just like, I'm trying, I'm frustrated. You know what I'm saying? You know, he was doing alcohol and little things like that, stressful. And then he was like, I don't know how to be a man. I got to do this at home. I just don't know how. No grandfather, no father, whatever. And he was giving me praise for seeing the good in him and always giving opportunities and not judging him. And then I said, well, how can I help you? And the one thing, and I went home and I honestly, I got emotional about it that night.
Sure.
One thing I could not do was teach him how to be, I'm as tough as I am and I'm this or whatever. The reality, I don't have that Y chromosome.
Yeah.
And I tell that story often because he was right. But so the next day, I thought about it and I said, you know what? You have a lot of respect for me. So when you would never do well in other programs or whatever, there's something about what you see that our relationship, this program's the way that my staff and I work with you that make you want to do better. So do this for me. For a young woman, like what kind of man do you think I deserve? Based on how you think of me. Now you become him. I can't teach you how to be a man, but I can give you pointers on how to be the man that you think I deserve since you have so much respect for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, Nakita, I've for the past, I guess, 40 years, I've been battling that problem with the Y chromosome. Yeah, no, it's true. I've raised 3 children basically alone, you know, without the husband, the traditional man in the house and stuff like that. And it's rough, you know. And I remember some friends of mine once told me, you know, well, you're a woman, you can't raise a man. You know, you can do a good job, but you can't raise him to be a man. You know,
right, but we can model.
Yeah, that model. And I was so hurt. And I was so insulted by what the person said, you know. And I said, well, what are you talking about? You know, I says, you know, everybody's not blessed to have mother and father in the house and stuff like that. I'm a good mother. He says, yes, but you're not a man.
Right. You know, another thing that I used to do is whenever I was able to bring in, like I said, with PK, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Whenever I could bring in or hire speakers or workshop facilitators or take them out, I would try to expose them to positive males.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it had to be polished. I just know that they could have, you know, been whatever, maybe not as well spoken, but I know that in their heart and their actions that they were in the right place. And this is a model of a male that I want to put in front of them.
You know, what I've been discovering inside of the fatherhood presence that I'm working in, and I've only been doing this probably for a couple months now, and we've been doing workshops, and our intention is to specifically work with men first, but also then bring the women into the conversation so that we've got a full, full-bodied conversation.
Yeah.
But the thing that it doesn't have to be a parent necessarily. Sometimes it's an uncle.
That's right.
Sometimes it's a grandfather.
That is
Sometimes it's just a guy down the street that seems to be successful. And unfortunate for a lot of our young men, the guys on the street that are not doing the criminality are the ones that they end up looking up to because they don't have any other models to model after, and so I know that one of the things, we've been working with the Queens Borough office and doing some of the things around building up the community and creating, at least jobs and economic development. Such an important conversation to introduce people to, even if you can't embellish in them that.
Right.
But there's something about being positive, and I know that your energy is beyond you. You're impacting people's lives. You're transforming people's lives by those interactions, and it's so important. It's so important.
And bring me to the table. Like, I love that kind of stuff because, again, it's just helping people see that you, too, can make a difference. And, again, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have a fancy this or that. It's just where your heart and your spirit is, and it's just the hard work and the dedication and just being that stand-up, respectable person, right? And then when there's bickering and things and disagreements between males and females and, when you're parenting, sometimes you just want to be heard. And for so long in the house or wherever, you're not being heard, and it hurts my heart, right, to see when people can't see their children for whatever the reason, or when someone's struggling and they're doing their best. Another example I remember where a young lady, she was in my program because it was her child's first birthday, and she had stole from the Gap or something like that, just for an outfit, or like stealing eggs, or like simple things, right? And I'm not saying that it's wrong, but sometimes just sitting down and without judgment and understanding and just coming up with alternative ways. They were either ego, they couldn't go to the neighbor for the eggs, or, whatever the case. But I love being at that table and speaking authentically and with compassion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would love to assist with that in any way I can.
Yeah, it's an important piece, and I think that we as a society have dropped that out.
Yeah.
That whole it takes a village to support a child, and we've got to look within ourselves. And I think it's interesting because where we started this conversation, it was inside of the impact of the pandemic, and when we look at the pandemic has had us slow our lives down, to begin to really reevaluate what is my life for, and what am I doing consistent to my commitments.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point, because you did have to also reevaluate the people that's around you, right?
Yes.
Right, and it's just like, and when you lose people, you be like, oh my God, like I do want to love, I do want to buy a house, I do want to this, I want to that, you know what I mean? You can't just have all willy-nilly. And what's funny is, my friend used to tell me, locker room, when people were first getting quarantined, they were quarantined with the wife and he couldn't get to the side chick, so it was some funny quarantine stories, and there were some good quarantine stories. But the bottom line on a holistic level is that, it does make you love harder.
Yeah.
It does make you kind of reevaluate the true substance that you want to have around you to make the best of your life, right?
Now we're coming to the end. I want to find out, how do you recharge your battery? What are the techniques and the things? You talked a little bit about journaling, I think, earlier. What is it that you do to take a break from society so that you recharge your batteries?
I'm blessed to have a few people in my life that might let me go away for the weekend, or I might just take a long shower. That's my vacation. Or I might just watch Hulu on repeat or something like that. Sometimes it's just doing nothing on purpose. It's nothing fancy, or if I feel like going out, I might look at water.
You like the ocean, any kind of water,
Any kind of just
ocean?
watching the rip. So it could be like, at the Marina, I've been
Lake,
doing that. It could be a lake. It could be just the ripples, or just the green. Like when you're going down the highway, you see the trees, the beautiful shades. Like there's so much about nature that's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And so just when you deal with a lot of stuff, the best way to thrive and sometimes get away is just the simple things. Just looking at nature and, wow, the way the mountains naturally make this shape, or, those clouds are doing this beautiful thing in the sky and just the air and just being able to get away. That's how I recharge. I still got a lot of work to do. When you're accustomed to always being on, sometimes you got to just, again, like Grandma said, just learn to sit down somewhere or let other people in to kind of calm that
energy, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so spending time to kind of promote or proudly wear this Stay in Faith, or talk about the book and get feedback, or like the wows and I'm proud of you, Kita, and all of that kind of stuff. That makes me happy. But there is a lot behind the curtain, right? So I might calm this part, but then this part is step in, or that part. Just finding balance. That's part of the experience of life. I'm still figuring it out. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to continue to figure it out.
Okay, before we leave, I would like to ask you, what would you say to somebody that feels like giving up?
I would tell them to definitely just take time and grieve and feel how they feel, but realize that it's just temporary, because in the morning or in a few hours or whatever, it's going to be a little bit better. And that testimony of what you're going through is because that is something that you can use to empower someone else when you feel like it. Not too soon, but it's part of it. You have to go through the highs and the lows and the negatives so that you can appreciate once you're at that high point. So I would encourage them not to give up. You're almost there. There's a song that I like. I can't remember the quote, but it's basically, it's almost your turn. Like, it's turning around for me right now. It's coming. Like, everything I went through is coming. My turn, what I planted, what I sowed, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. But just realize those down moments is so that you can appreciate the higher moments. And so you can tell that story and encourage somebody else, right? Don't give up. You gotta do it. I do encourage you to, not in this situation, but just in general, the audience to get the book. If the link is not posted, then you can definitely reach out to me on Facebook and send me a message, Nakita Vanstory. No fancy thing, it's just Nakita Vanstory on Facebook. It's Nakita Vanstory on Instagram, and just message me, and I can send you either my Cash App or the direct link, and I can get the book to you. There's a lot of great stories. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a mom, if you're a traveler, if you're an educator, whatever the case may be, there's a host of things here. I would encourage you to get the book, use this as a little bit of motivation, and go from there. But again, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to reconnect and talk and kind of inspire and share my story.
Yes, it is. I love talking with you. You have, over the, 7 years, almost 8 years, you've been a really a person that always inspires me.
Thank you.
I look at you and I say, oh gosh, I hope when I was young that I was like you.
Aww,
yeah.
That's
you're
sweet.
beautiful.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. You're a very lovely person. You are a great inspiration.
And I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for, we've worked together on various projects, and you've always been positive. You've always been empowering. You've always left the place lighter by your presence, and I'm clear that that's part of what you bring to the party. That's part of your persona. Let me ask you one other question. Where would you say that you've gotten that inspiration from different family members, or maybe there were some people in your community that you saw and kind of locked into, or
Honestly, I don't know. Like, my mother's very soft-spoken. My father was really, laid back. I don't know what it was. I think I loved hip-hop, and that's what got me into radio, maybe. And maybe that experience so young, perhaps. And also, I remember when I was going away to college, there was a lady that was speaking at an admissions fair, and she was classy. She was beautiful. The way that she articulated, and I don't even remember her name, but maybe subconsciously a part of that. I love, dressing the part and being an inspiration or modeling what it's like to be a classy, respectable. I mean, I'm hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I could whatever, but at the core, I don't know. It's just something in me. Sometimes I do ask myself, I'm not quite sure where it came from, but I'm blessed that my ancestors put that within me, and I'm able to be my ancestors' wildest dream, as they say.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being on Our World, Our Power. You've been listening to Lady Pauline and my honorable co-host, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, the honorable mayor of Suffolk Boulevard. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Our World Media. Subscribe to us on YouTube channel, Our World Media #1. And don't forget, you're listening to Our World Media Network, WGJS Radio. All right. Take care. Thank you all for listening. And Glenn, do you have anything you want to say before? How can people reach you? You didn't say.
Well, they can reach me at Sutphen Boulevard Business Improvement District, the BID, at 718-291-2110, and I'm actually going to have a couple of surprises coming up. We're going to be doing probably our Thanksgiving giveaway. I haven't worked out all the details with that, but I have something definitely want to invite you back to.
Awesome.
I'm formulating a project with one of my West Coast buddies. He's going to do a Kwanzaa celebration, and each day is going to be different people connecting, and so he's going to have the first day of Kwanzaa, and our outreach is going to be about promoting businesses. And so he's on the West Coast. Of course, I'm here on the East Coast, and we have some folks in Ghana, West Africa, and we have some folks in Jamaica and I believe Trinidad as well that are going to be part of that conversation. And so what we're looking to do is on this network to be part of this bigger conversation of exposing people to Kwanzaa who aren't aware of it, but really using Kwanzaa as a advertising point for our businesses.
Cooperative economics.
Cooperative economics, exactly. So I'll be letting folks know a little bit more about that as well in coming weeks, and we're always looking for new stories, new shows.
I don't know. Y'all might be seeing the beginning of something here.
Well, listen.
I invited you to become part of our team, and you said yes. So we're going to be working together. We're going to be exchanging ideas for the community and so forth. And I'm really looking forward to everything.
Absolutely.
Nakita.
Thank you.
Again, listeners, thank you all for watching and listening.
And this is Nakita Vanstory. Still I Thrive. Yes. Okay? So check it out and go to her Facebook and order the book. She's chapter 2 and a lot of
Insinuated superpowers.
That's right. That's right.
Insinuated superpowers.
All right. Okay.
Superpowers. I love that.
Great.
All right. Take care, everybody. See you all next week.